Alright, so next up is another one that I just recently heard of, and that is a paleo diet. This diet actually, I don't necessarily recommend it, but it seems like it's a lot safer than other options. The motto of the paleo diet is to basically eat like a caveman. What that means is going back to the foods that we as humans ate back when we were nomadic. We didn't have all this agriculture, and the Industrial Revolution hadn't come along where we're now making tons and tons of artificial foods in factories and stuff like that. Now, the good thing about this diet is the recommended foods are actually they are healthy. They recommend you eat turkey, shrimp, crab, salmon, lamb, lean beefs, omega-3 eggs, pecans, almonds, walnuts, avocado, spinach, tomato, cauliflower, broccoli, lettuce, berries, apples, pineapple, peaches, olive oil, wine, herbal tea, and mineral water. It actually, just right there, that's a relatively healthy diet as long as you follow it. There are some things that I don't necessarily like. Certain vegetables aren't actually allowed on the diet, potatoes being one example, which I do actually agree with that. I don't eat any potatoes except for sweet potatoes due to their health benefits. But due to the fact that so many potatoes are actually genetically and nutritionally altered nowadays, they're not allowed because they're not in the same state that they were in back before we had all this technology to process our foods. What I also like is the restricted foods that are on this diet. This includes basically anything that's processed, sugar, salt, processed grains, dairy products, coffee, and alcohol. All of those I would say are pretty good to get rid of except for the dairy. My personal opinion is that dairy is an important part of a diet. Obviously you can go without because there are lactose intolerant people that are healthy, but generally I would say if you can consume dairy you should use it because it does have some benefits as far as consuming it at the appropriate time. I usually have a little bit of dairy before I go to bed because the casein protein will work in my body throughout the night since it generally takes 8 hours to digest. So I really don't think you should get rid of the dairy. They also say that as long as you follow the diet 85% of the time, you will see some significant gains. I personally haven't tried the diet. It's relatively close to what I eat right now anyways. My motto is if man made it, you probably shouldn't eat it. And unfortunately that's not really my motto. It's someone else's motto in my own words. But you really shouldn't eat it if man made it. I looked around some on Amazon and stuff like that. The Paleo diet book actually retails for around $15, so it's not that bad of a price. It doesn't really seem like anyone's promoting this diet to make a ton of money. So on that end, it could actually be a good diet. Some of the other pros, there's a higher intake of protein in this diet, which will reduce your appetite and increase your metabolism. Anybody that pays attention to me knows that I am all about increasing metabolism. It also emphasizes on fruits and vegetables, and due to their low calorie amount, you can pretty much eat as many as you want. And another great thing, this diet also encourages the intake of essential fatty acids, which you get from your salmon and stuff like that. Very good thing to be eating a decent amount of, as long as you don't overdo it. And this diet will actually improve and reduce the risk of developing many diseases and disorders such as diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. Keep those doctor bills real low. The book actually provides 6 weeks of sample menus, so it does give you a pretty good idea, and I'm sure that you could work off of those sample menus to make other things as well. And something that I really love about this diet is there's no calorie counting involved. We're going to get to the calorie counting later on. I cannot stand calorie counters. If you are a calorie counter, you are my worst nightmare. Some of the cons to the diet is it is highly restrictive and it does require a great deal of commitment to kind of stick with it. Only because as Americans, we're all very used to being able to eat a lot of garbage. One thing that I don't like about this diet, but it's true with most diets anyways, is that it's going to interfere with your social life. Eating like this, you can't really go out to a social gathering and eat. Unless, of course, you are like me and you prefer to do a light cheat meal every week, in which case that would be okay. Also, when you first start the diet, you're probably going to have a little bit of a withdrawal period, but you're really going to have that with just about any diet. But this type of diet is a rather large change for most people. So starting out, you might have some trouble. One thing that I don't like about this diet is it actually recommends diet soda. Not necessarily that you should be consuming it all the time, but that if you're going to drink soda, you should drink diet soda. My opinion is you shouldn't touch anything carbonated at all. But that is, of course, my own opinion. And then, of course, for any vegans or vegetarians, this isn't exactly your type of diet, so it is a con for that type of person. But, I mean, as you can see, it's really not that bad of a diet. It actually has a pretty solid foundation. It's not requiring you to do anything that's necessarily unhealthy. And it's actually a great diet program for anybody that is exercising as well. So, I'm not going to sit here and say to do the paleo diet, but if you're going to pick one, that's one of the fad diets that you should probably stick with. Thanks for watching, and now let's move on to the next fad diet.